Hello, my name is Dr. Bertrina Olivia West Amati, and you are watching Dr.O After Dark. Hey y'all know who it is. It is the one and only Dr.O here for another episode of Dr.O After Dark. Thank you so much for joining us on tonight. I am super duper excited. Now I know y'all hear me say, oh my girl, my homeboy, I'm excited, but for real. This guest that we have tonight, she's not one of our clinicians here at Out of the Box Counseling, Coaching, and Consulting, but she is very much so a partner of ours and affiliated with us. So she is near and dear to my heart, and I really wanted to have you on this evening, not only to just share a lot more about what you're doing and some of the wonderful things. So let me introduce the one and only sound healer, transformative coach. I love that title, by the way. I don't know where you came up with it, but I do love it. And we're gonna get into what a transformative coach is. Miss Kristal Lewis, LCSW, which stands for Licensed Clinical Social Worker. So she got a master's degree and a license, y'all. She is credentialed. Thank you so much for joining us on this evening, Miss Kristal.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. So as I said, you are a sound healer.
Yes.
And transformative coach.
Yes.
Let's get into some of what exactly is a sound healer?
Okay, so sound healing is taking instruments and using them as another form of healing, right? So we're using, because everybody knows we have music, and music can really affect the way that you engage with your mood. And it can bring you to different memories, it can bring you to different experiences. So how sound healing is taking instruments and taking sound and using it intentionally with the expectation that we're going to heal, we're going to bring healing energy into this room. Because music has the ability to address you on every frequency of your level, right? It addresses your soul, right? It addresses your mind, it addresses your spirit, it addresses you on a cellular level. And when I did a lot of the training that I did for the certification that I have as a sound healer, I was able to see this video, and it showed us how you put salt, or I think it was sugar, on a plate, and then you play music to it, and it really affects the way that the salt, and it creates like patterns, and you see like on a cellular level. If that's happening to salt, imagine what it's doing to me in my body with the intention of the frequency of the sounds that we're playing. So it really addresses you on a frequency level.
So you mean to tell me that when I was 18 years old, listening to Aaliyah, thinking about my Navy blue thing, writing him a letter while he was on a ship and out to sea, and the letter just happened to be how many pages?
It was probably
4 pages. Because I'm listening to Aaliyah. I'm writing you a 4-page letter. And what did I do? I sealed it with the kiss. And when you run back and better, yeah, that on or right after that person broke my heart and broke up with me, and I'm listening to Mary J. Blige.
Say, what'd you turn on?
I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna shed no tears. No, I'm not gonna cry now. Cause you're not, the whole time while I'm crying, cause you're not worth my tears.
You're feeling it. You're channeling their energy. right?
For all the times that I was loving you.
You're connecting to the emotion.
That is all sound and music
healing
therapy. What that really reminds me of and go back to is our indigenous roots. As much as some folk try to separate us from that, when I think of the roots of Africans, African Americans, it's very much so built into the drum, the beat, the healing, the dance, the etc. Is that kind of like where sound healing may have come from, is resonating with that rhythm, that beat that we have been passed down and taught, especially in communities of color for generations?
And it is. It's honestly spread across every culture, because we have music in every culture, and you'll see that, the different connections that we have to it and what that looks like for us all. So I wouldn't say that it's specific just to Black culture, it's specific to all of our cultures. And the way that we bring it in and the way that we engage with it is what's different. So I know, especially like during my training, they talked about African drumming and beats and how that played a part and how that made a difference in the way that we connect to one another. Like you have those drumming circles.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those are really good actually for anxiety and learning and managing your anxieties. You do that drumming circles, you bang all that anxiety out. Wow. Exactly.
So much I want to ask you. I want to get into how did you even get into this field, but it cannot be Dr.O After Dark if I don't touch on, as you mentioned, it's for all cultures across. And you may have noticed I said minority because I'm used to feeling that or seeing that history of music, and not only African based or those are of the African diaspora, but Hispanic or Latina, Latin, Asian. There's only one who kind of hailed from the Caucasus Mountains that you don't see it, the rhythm.
It's different.
As much in. So when you say you were taught that it's in all of our cultures, can you, outside of the Irish dance and, some different things of that nature, can you maybe say how it comes out of other cultures who we might resonate with having less rhythm or rhythm stolen from other communities?
And so that's the thing. It's like I definitely notice it is something that is like appropriated for sure. It is definitely appropriated for sure, and that's why I want to make it a point of my experience to make sure that I'm choosing instruments that are dear to me from cultures that are also dear to me.
And bringing it back and educating us more on it, because it has been...
It's been stolen, and that's the hard part.
You said it, I didn't.
That's the hard part, but it's figuring out, like, when I learned about sound healing, it wasn't specific to one thing. Like, it was like, I can use my voice and that could be sound healing. If you can sing or you can just talk in a calm space, you can use that to manipulate. And I think that's why I say that you can use it amongst cultures, because it's an experience that as long as that instrument has sound.
And your voice is an instrument.
Exactly.
And that even goes, oh my God. How much we can delve into this. So we definitely got to have you back, because even when I'm thinking, it even goes into, as you mentioned, the tone and code switching.
Exactly.
I know on one of our other episodes we were talking about, just like the difference in, manipulation, so to speak, of how you use a voice. If it's late night Dr.O, you use a sexier.
Gives it a different energy.
It gives a totally different energy. Then, hey y'all, this is Dr.O. Y'all know we about to turn up tonight with some mental health.
That's the energy you want to be mindful of bringing into a sound healing session. Because if my intention here is to invest in your healing, I don't want to come in like chaotic. I want to come in peaceful and grounded and make sure that I'm being mindful of that space that I'm bringing in here too.
Wait, did y'all just catch that? The shade, she just called me chaotic.
No!
I just gave an example of, hey y'all, hey, and she said, yeah, that's what we want to be mindful of.
No, I love your energy.
I don't want to be. We don't want to come in chaotic.
No, I want to be
Dr.O.
No, it's absolutely not. I'm just speaking to the intention of the space.
I know, you know this Dr. That's Dr. You know, I'm just messing with, around with you a little bit. But I will say, I do love your tone. And you can tell even in your tone and the context that this is, we're in a place. What's good about sound healing is that it really resonates more so with like meditation and mindfulness, being intentional, being present in the moment. So we don't need all of that noise and all of that chaos and all of the different things that the energy that might get us through the day. Now is the time where we're going to take that 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever is needed to connect with self and be here in the present, in the here and now. Not worried about what just happened, not worrying about as soon as I jump up from this, I'm gonna go straight into Dr.O mode. But no, I'm just present here in this moment.
And you're doing that with intention, and that's the even most important part of the experience, is that I'm coming in here with the intention. Because think about how many things you're actually intentional about throughout your day. Like actually specific, this is my healing time for 30 minutes, this is what I'm doing. Yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah, you have to be, because it's not something that you can, I'm just imagining just sitting and doing it. I'm thinking of just throwing on something, and the first thing that came to mind is some Beyonce. But no, that's not. You can say that's sound healing. Yes, are we healed from hearing different? Are our moods changed by different music? Absolutely. If I want to get up and dance, if I want to, be in an uplifting mood, I'm gonna listen to uplifting music. Best way to my husband know that he in trouble is when he comes in and I'm cleaning and he hear that fucking playlist going on and he like, damn, I know that song. I know that song. That's on that playlist.
Exactly.
And so we have those different things, but it's different in that than being intentional of, no, I'm going to take
a
30 minutes.
528 hertz song. And 528 is the frequency of love, right? So I'm going to take this song and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to meditate on it for 30 minutes.
That's also, I think, with like what we're getting into, like with the brain spotting and the bilateral stimulation type of music, which they're playing more and more in like clubs and, the facilities and different things like that. I forget what they call it out here, but we've been trained to, that's the bilateral, that's the 528.
Exactly.
And it gets into a different frequency.
Exactly. So I'm healing you on a cellular level now. So it's really powerful stuff. And I got into it because I was going through my own journey.
So tell us a little bit more about going into how you got into it by going into your own journey.
So I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life. I have complex PTSD, to be transparent in that experience.
Is that what brought you into this field?
No, I fell into being a therapist and all of that. I never wanted to be a therapist, and then this is how I ended up my journey.
Did you know about therapy, mental health when you were? Okay.
No. Okay.
So very similar. I didn't either, and it kind of like fell into it and things.
Yeah, so I fell into it. When I was in college, I was a human development family studies major, and then I went to a career fair, and I went to UConn. So there's only me and one other black lady in that room. And so I stuck out like a sore thumb.
We're talking about Connecticut.
Connecticut, yeah.
For y'all don't know where UConn is. Connecticut.
Yeah, so it's very common, right? So I'm sticking out like a sore thumb.
Does common mean common?
It's very common. You're gonna be the only one in the room. So
we all know what common means.
So she waved me over, and it's a social work table, and I'm like, I am not gonna be a social worker. That is not what
And this is the only other one in the room?
This is the only other one in the room, and I'm like, okay. So then
she didn't even call you over.
She was like, I know you need to come over here and talk to me.
Hey sis, she gave you the hey sis.
And that's what she said, and I'm like, I do not want to be no social worker. I'm not coming over there. And she finally got me to come over to her table, and she walked me through what social worker was and asked me like what I was interested in. I told her I always wanted to help people. And she was like, you would be perfect for this program. And she advised me to do the group work track. The first year I applied, I didn't get in. Then I applied again the next year. I got in, and 2 years later in, I had to do an internship, and that was my first clinical internship. So I had did my non-clinical internship. Now this is clinical internship, and they're like, you need to quit your job. And I'm working full time. I'm going to school full time. I'm living on my own. So it's like, how am I going to quit my job? Like, who's going to take care of my life for me? So what I did is I found my own internship, and I called up my insurance and I said, do you have any therapists that are Black in the area? And they put me to my place that I'm working at currently, and they said that there's Black clinicians here, but when I got there wasn't any Black clinicians. So I was just like, well, this is clearly a need. So I reached out to them and I asked them, I said, are you looking for interns? And I'd like to intern here. And then I got into finding out what a therapist was. That's how I found out what a therapist was.
Wow.
A year after that, my grandmother died. I grew up with my grandmother. So
Yes.
I was raised by my grandmother ever since I was 4.
Okay.
I have a really strained, it's better now, but strained relationship with my mom. We've been back and forth, like working on our relationship since I was 4.
Okay.
So that's been a lot of my trauma. It's just mostly dealing. My mom struggles with mental health, like all kinds of mental health diagnoses.
And are you so you're originally from Connecticut?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So most of my family lives there, and then my siblings have my mom, my brother, and my sister, my 2 brothers and my sister that live here.
Got it. Okay.
So then I'm doing the program, and they're telling me that I have to do all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. And my grandma dies, and then I'm like, now going through a depression, because that was my home base. She was my sense of home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know, what am I gonna do? And this was 2018, so I've been on my personal dark night of the soul, I call it, since 2018, because life changed like drastically since then.
Wow. Wow. So, and then when did you come into the mental health field?
So I was doing my internship throughout that process, and so I was having like a really hard time. And then once I graduated, I decided to leave the job that I was at. I was running an after-school program, and I decided to work for a mental health clinic. And I worked there for a little bit, and then I was like, this is not the space for me. I went to another space, which I'm still currently working at, and that's when I was like, okay, well, maybe therapy is my thing. So I just been kind of finding it, because I've been finding out there's not a lot of Black clinicians here, and I needed a clinician, especially going through what I was going through, and I couldn't find any. So I was like, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But then a couple of years later, I get my LCSW, and I'm like, I don't think I want to be a therapist anymore.
So that brings us a little bit to you being a transformative coach and kind of stepping away a little bit from LCSW. So maybe share a little bit as to what brought you, besides burnout and all the things that we know us therapists go through. But was there maybe like something lacking in your own therapy or in your own journey that you felt like, this is a niche that needs to be filled? And
so when I was going through my depression and my like PTSD symptoms and things like that, I needed a therapist, and I found one, and I was lucky to find a really good therapist, and she was really spiritually inclined. And she wasn't a person of color, so I didn't relate to her there, but I related to her on a spiritual level.
Okay.
And then I had started seeing these sound bowls all around me. I'm like, what the heck is sound healing? Like, what is that? And then I started finding sound healing and falling into that world. And then my therapist ended up connecting me, and was like, we've been working together for 5 years, and after I'm on my sound healing journey, I'm doing my therapy journey, and I'm finished with it. And it's like, what next? So I came to Georgia, and I'm trying to find a therapist here, and I'm like, I don't think I need therapy anymore. Like, I worked through all the stuff that I've been going through. I've been figuring this all out, and now
so say that again. You don't think you need what?
I didn't need therapy at that moment.
So you don't think you need therapy again? And so I wanted you to repeat that, because so many of us think that when we're in therapy, it's a lifetime journey. I'm never gonna get healed. So much trauma. And I want people to see that no, there is another side of it.
Right.
That we can be in therapy lifelong just to get that retune and coming every 6 months or every, once a month or whatever it might be if we feel that we need it.
Right.
But there is a such thing of what healing looks like.
Yeah.
And we can go on to that next phase where we don't have to be the days of being in therapy for the rest of our lives or being on medication for the rest of our lives.
Right, and I've done it all. I've done all the medications, I've done all the therapy, and it was just like I've been hospitalized a couple of times as well. And just out of those experiences, I had to learn to have clarity within myself. And then once I gained that clarity within myself, I'm like, I don't feel the need to keep going back to therapy, but I do need guidance. I need direction.
Because you gain the coping skills and the things that you need, which is what us as therapists are trying to get you to. So I want to make sure everyone is catching that, is that you've had traumas and different instances in your life, from abandonment to other things in your life, to which you had to overcome, and in that you've had your own mental health struggles.
Right.
And in those own mental health struggles that led you to therapy, but not only just therapy, medication, and hospitalization. And I'm here to say, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
Like you don't look crazy.
And that's something I had to learn within myself.
Seem to be, you're a whole entrepreneur and have clients and everything that you work with and everything else like that. So this is what we're about, is normalizing that. I don't know, you may still be on medication to this day because it helps with keeping things and normalizing. When we know where we're at and what we need, then, and the more that we talk about it, the more that we are breaking down the negativity and the stigmatizations and things like that. What I always say is that not everybody is looking for a handout. Sometimes we just need a hand up.
Seriously, it's okay to be helped sometimes, and I had to learn that. It's like I had to learn to accept help. And I also had to learn what really helped me just in my journey in general was changing my perspective and making choice to do something different. Like I would say, the trauma is not your responsibility, but how you heal from that is. Right? I learned that quote and I was like, that is real, because I still, within all the limitations, all the diagnoses that they might have given me or whatever, like I still have to make a choice at the end of the day.
Say that for us one more time for the people in the back. That is a beautiful quote.
That choice is still yours at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love
You might
that.
have a limitation, but you still have the choice to do something different.
Yeah, the trauma was not your choice, but the way that you handle it or the way that you respond, it is.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So for those who may be interested in sound healing and or transformative coaching, which is for those, just explain just a little bit, what do you coach people on in your transformative coaching? Why should I come to you as a coach?
So my intention is to walk alongside you in this journey. So it's not if you need therapy, like you're still working through serious mental health conditions, learning how to cope with your mental health. It's once you get past that, right? Once you're like, okay, like what's the next step? How do I keep making progress forward? How do I keep investing and making deposits into my healing journey?
So I've dealt with all the trauma. But here I am in the present day, stuck with, I have goals, but I don't know how to get there.
Exactly.
How can you help me get there?
Exactly.
What is blocking me?
Yeah, exactly. So I want to help you figure out that subconscious block and how we can move through that subconscious block. And a lot of it is perspective shifting and being able to approach your life with, I'm going to take a change of perspective.
So transforming my perspective or transforming my mindset is what a transformative coach is. I love that. So where can we find you?
So you can find me, you can follow my journey, my personal life journey on We're All Just Figuring It Out, right? Because we're all just trying to learn this life thing. Exactly.
And we can follow that on YouTube, Instagram,
and on TikTok. We're all just figuring it out.
We're all just figuring it out on Instagram and on TikTok.
Yep. And I have, I'm actually doing a podcast with my mom about our journey, and that is on YouTube.
Wow.
It's called The Hard Conversation with Kristal and Lee. And we talk about
a hard conversation. Y'all, I'm tuning into that.
Yeah,
when will that be airing?
That is already up. There's also a couple of episodes up there already.
Okay, y'all check that out. A hard conversation with Kristal, Lee?
Kristal and Lee. Yeah.
Kristal and Lee. Okay.
Yep. And then you can reach me through. Right now, I'm still working on our our separation and coaching therapy, but you can reach me at www.interconnectionwellness.org.
Okay.
And,
and also on Out of the Box.
Out of the Box, exactly.
ccc.com as one of our coaches and sound therapists as well.
Exactly.
So on all platforms. Well, thank you so much. We have to have you again.
Definitely.
To delve more into, I would love to delve more into your Kristal and Lee podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm open. We can talk about it.
Well, thank you so much. Thank y'all for joining us for another episode of Dr.O After Dark. See you all next time.